unleashing them. So we got Glitch Mitch. They're gonna make a clone of him. It kind of sounds like they are. So we have to watch and see how this drama plays out with Glitch. And we're seeing his wife. Is she being exposed as a Chinese spy? So there's a lot of stuff going on right now. So we see President Trump. He's speaking with the NATO Nazis, and they're doing what Nazis do. They want to destroy the world. So they want to give money to Ukraine so they can destroy a peaceful group of people, the Russians, right, who used to be the Tartarians, who were destroyed by this evil cabal long ago. So we're definitely, you think he's going to be 100% cloned? I think so. Because I've been saying for a little bit now that Mitch, where's Mitch? And this yesterday, there's several people that came out. Laura Logan, not Laura Logan. Anyway, a couple of people came out and said, "Hey, Mitch is brain dead. We get it from reliable sources." So I'm like, yeah, I kind of thought that was happening. So, and now they're saying that he is got. He's talking to like senators and so forth. He's doing well. He's like catching up on stuff. I'm like, gosh, wow. So once he's called out, then they're calling out his wife for not being with him, and she went to China. So I mean, imagine your loved one is. Would you run off to a foreign country? You'd be there by their side, right? But yeah, she went to China. They called her back, and they want to have her report and give her new instructions, right? So it's funny how these things are starting to work out now. Now, President Trump, like I said, is calling out the Nazis. He's not fond of them, so he's there in Ankara, in Turkey, and talking to them and telling them that they're all pieces of shit.
Group drawdowns in Europe likely? And are you satisfied with the progress that NATO allies have
made? Well, we're going to
since
see. I was very disappointed with NATO. And frankly, if it weren't held in Turkey, where my friend happens to be a very strong leader, a very strong person, it's possible that I wouldn't have attended. I felt I had to attend because of the fact that, I know he's gone all out. It was a big...
Now, President Trump has gone there, and they're selling F-35s, which are extremely advanced aircraft, to Turkey. Now, we know that Turkey, a couple of years ago, had a very suspect earthquake, back-to-back earthquakes, just like we just saw in Venezuela, very suspect. And, they're getting pressure from the deep state for some reason. And so President Trump is going to give them aircraft that will help protect them, I guess. And there's people within our military, deep state, that are speaking out about that. So watch who speaks out about this, right? So this is a positive thing that's happening, but you're going to see some naysayers. I've already started to see them online.
Thing to have NATO come to Turkey or any place else. It's a big thing, but we weren't treated well. Because we did something in Iran, we don't need anybody's help. I didn't even want their help, but before.
So interestingly, after he made these comments, trashing NATO, then their NATO's puppet in Iran started attacking ships in the Hormuz Strait. How about that? Breaking the peace plan. So it's all tied together. That's why no one in Europe would help us, United States, take out this incredibly evil terrorist organization that's running Iran, has been for 47 years. Should have been taken down right from the get-go, but they're allowed to take over. And Jimmy Carter was the president when they took over. He was a puppet of the deep state, and he did nothing. Of course, he did nothing. He was part of the problem, talking bad about the Shah, and then forces took him down. So we'll see. We'll see how this all works out. But, you go against President Trump, usually it does not work out for you.
Or I asked, they said they wouldn't be there. And we've invested trillions of dollars in NATO. Why? To protect European countries and others, Canada, etc., but to protect people, countries from generally.
Protect Canada. Kind of toss that in there. Canada, for the last 2 years, has more people leaving, and their birth rate is not keeping up. So they've actually had a population decrease in Canada for the last 2 years.
Speaking, it used to be the Soviet Union, now it's Russia. And I say that's fine, but you would think that they'd be very willing to do something to help us. And they really weren't. In the case of the United Kingdom, the prime minister, I guess he's no longer there, maybe because of this. It was a very unpopular thing he did. He said, no, we'll help after the war is over. I said, I don't need that kind of help. We didn't need any help at all. And in a way, I was testing people. I was testing to see whether or not they'd be there, because I've long said that we help them, but I'm not sure that they'd be there for us. And Italy turned us down.
See, it sounds like he's saying that he tested them to see if they would help, and they didn't help. So what do you think happens now? He tested them to see if they would help. And we've given trillions to them over the years, bases, agreements, all these different things. And the militaries of Europe are trashed because they've depended on the U.S. Of course, they've had this illegal immigration because they're falling birth rates as well, because wokesters don't have children. And that's happening in the U.S. Wokesters are basically taking themselves out, right? So we don't have to do it. I like that. Now, those of us that are conservative are still having lots of babies, right? Just as many as before. But because the wokesters are, not having babies anymore, I don't know, maybe their sex changes and everything else they're having, they can't have babies. So that is leading to population decline in America. Now in Europe, same thing. They have had, they've tried to balance that by shipping in these illegal aliens. Yes, there's multiple reasons why they do the things they do. So there is, a birth imbalance that's happening, and I'm cool with that because we're taking out the leftist communist. Communism is back in, I think, 1954, they voted it to be illegal. Communism is illegal. The Communist Control Act of 1954 makes membership in the Communist Party illegal for U.S. politicians, prohibiting them from serving in certain representative capacities, right? So that's some of the stuff we're starting to see is being revealed. I think that, eventually these guys are going to go, they're just going to raid their offices. Due to the Communist Control Act of 1954, you're being arrested and for treason to the United States, and you will go to Guantanamo where you will be tried and executed, right? So I don't know, maybe that's in Mike's world. I don't know if that really is going to happen, but we'll see.
And Germany turned us down, and France turned us down. And it's okay. But, why are we spending hundreds of billions of dollars and they're not there for us? We've always been there for them.
Why? Why are we spending hundreds of billions of dollars? I think we're not going to in the future. So I think this is, and that's why Iran broke out again. All right, so we're seeing that kicking off, firing up again. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but let's look at Glitch and what's going on with him. Now, his wife is Chinese, and there's some interesting things that have been shared about that. So Elaine Chao is his wife. Sequence of events that has fueled intense public scrutiny and questions about timing, transparency, and official disclosures. Agreed on a new vision of a constructive China-U.S. relationship of strategic stability. So this is McConnell. His office statement is that he just continues to improve, right? So his clone is in the making. Just stand by. We'll have him out again soon. McConnell suffers cardiac arrest, CPR in progress, advanced life support dispatched to his D.C. home. Now, there was a reporter that went to his D.C. home and talked to one of his neighbors, and his neighbor said that she had not seen, since the ambulance arrived and took him away, that she has not seen anyone come to the home. Now, this is his D.C. home, right? So obviously, he has another home in Kentucky, and I guess Elaine Chao has probably, because her daddy is very, very wealthy, shipping magnate for China. And I guess she probably has homes in China too. So she's there in China. While her husband is unconscious, I guess, I don't know. She knows that maybe China's making the clone, and she's there to pick it up. Elaine Chao meets with Chinese Vice President Han Xing in Beijing. Chinese embassy statement. Both leaders agreed on a new vision of a constructive China-U.S. relationship of strategic stability. Embassy of the People's Republic of China, United States. Information blackout. McConnell's office maintains near total information blackout, no diagnosis, no prognosis, just continues to improve. No comment, no details, no answers. Silence is the message. Right. EMS audio released. Office finally issues milquetoast statement after independent journalist Desiree Townsend releases EMS audio. Office finally issues statement. So I guess they figured that, like all politicians, if you just ignore them, they'll go away. Right? So it didn't work out. Leader McConnell is receiving excellent medical care and continues to improve. The questions are allowed, the answers are not. So I think they're cloning McConnell. And so W.R. Schock wrote in my X post, says, yes, Special Forces found clones in an underground cloning lab in Yukon, Alaska, of McConnell, AOC, Pelosi, Iliad, whoever this, Newscum, and other prominent parasites, right? They have multiple avatars backed up for all their key positions. Once cloned, they get RC chipped. All right. So I don't know. Maybe that's not real. Maybe it is. So I'm not. I don't have any dog in that fight, right? So I'm just making observations, right? So is he going to come back as a clone? I kind of got that like when I remote viewed him and I saw he was bye-bye, I saw that they were working on a clone for him. Right? So maybe now that's been exposed and we're all talking about it, they're like, damn it. That Jaco, he always dimes us out and we can't do this stuff. Right? So, all right, we'll see though. I think they're going to bring out a clone, right? So, just like Mark Twain, the rumors of my demise are exaggerated. He's going to come out and say that. So, I don't know. We'll see. It's fun. It's fun to show them being stupid. Now, being stupid, you have to be careful with stuff that's out there, guys. And I've already tried to correct a couple people here now. Now, let's look at this. Now, James Woods, he posts some really, really good stuff. Now, this says, you're looking at this picture. Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan demand churches stop ringing bells on Sunday. Community, this is a Muslim majority town, and you have to respect us. According to Sharia, church bells cannot be louder than our Islamic call to prayer. Now, let's look at these. Oh, is that a cross there? That's not what Muslims wear. That's not what Muslims wear. And this guy's holding a cross. And these guys have some interesting beards, don't they? They have some very interesting beards. There's another cross back there. So now if you look at Eastern Orthodox Christians, they look like this. The priests look like this. All right, Mr. James Woods. So this is part of the disinformation that's running around out there, guys. So if you post this, you look like a dumbass, because these are Eastern Orthodox Christians, and they love church bells. They love them, and they ring loudly wherever they can, where the Eastern Orthodox are, right? So be careful out there. So I posted this picture of Eastern Orthodox Christians. This is a picture of Christian Orthodox Christians who love bells. So everybody's making comments about Islam. So everybody's going to look stupid when they find out this is East, or they probably don't care, right? Nobody's commented on my post. They don't care, right? Hey, we're just going off on Muslims. So then that's where it gets flipped back on us, guys. We start to look stupid, and then people don't make the comments which need to be made about the problem with Islam in America and in Europe. So again, if you're going to post something, do your due diligence and look and see. I mean, I looked at this and I'm like, those are, I saw it right away. I was like, that's Eastern Orthodox. What Christians, priest, what are you saying? Yep, it's, and they did that with 9/11. They, those of us that were pointing some stuff out, they would, like, fly a plane, and it looked like it was flying, through buildings and some kind of crap. And then those of us, see, we're making, see, we told you. And this was years afterwards, because we're saying all those aircraft, that was all bullshit. And then they came out and they showed where, there was some kind of reflection or something like that. And we all looked like dumbasses. This is what they do. All right. They being probably the CIA. I don't know. That's my take on it. So just be careful out there. This disinformation is going to continue to run amok. So I amuse myself by my language sometimes. All right, so let's look at what's going on in the Gulf. It's so funny. Trump strikes Iran following Hormuz attacks. So again, the timing of these attacks are very suspect to me. Right? The NATO being called out, and then Iran attacks. And U.S. military, we got to get involved now, right? Because they did stupid. Trump has been, only on the weekends normally, because the stock market is going to probably react very negatively, as it did a little bit today when this was starting to leak out. Before the close, stock market was down. And so we'll have to see what happens tomorrow, if they can clean this up overnight. I don't think so, but we'll see. U.S. military announced Tuesday evening. They like to do this after the stock market, and they prefer to do it on the weekends. That's when these usually happen. But because it's a 7/7 date, and NATO's meeting, the NATO Nazi satanic Luciferians. So the Satanists, remember, are Luciferian wannabes. So the very top of the food chain, and the evil psychopaths realm where once they reach these higher levels, 33-degree Mason, all that kind of bullshit, these guys have to do sacrifices and eat children and drink blood of children. It's like adrenochrome. It's what they do, right? So, they've been called out by a lot of us, and the Russians called them out. Vladimir Putin, about a year ago, says this is the end of the vampires, right? So I guess was it after he talked to Trump? Did they make a deal? We're going to take out the vampires now? Right? Maybe, right? Maybe that's why Mitch is gone. I don't know. Or maybe he's not. So we'll see. If he comes back, I'm like, that's obviously a clone. They're trying to expose this stuff, right? So or maybe they're dragging it out for some reason, which remains to be seen. Some very catastrophic event, because we know they have that up their sleeve. They want to bring on some catastrophe. That's the way they play the games. So they're launching a series of powerful strikes against Iran in retaliation for Iranian attacks on 3 commercial vessels. It wasn't one, because before it was one, and they did a little strike, a little slap in the face. Stop it, spanky, all right, whatever. So when they hit 3 of them, and I guess they attacked Bahrain or one of those places. Somebody got attacked, and so Trump is like, okay, we got all these targets. Let's start hitting them. Let's hit them hard, right? And that's what we're doing right now. So this happened at 5:15 Eastern time. So after the bell, right? 4:30, right? 4 o'clock, 4:30, whatever it is. No, it's 4 o'clock. Or is it 5? I don't know. I forget. So it's like 1 o'clock. I think it's 1 o'clock on my time. So that makes it 4. Yeah, it's 4. So it starts at 9:30 and then it goes to 4. All right. So, they're going to start trading like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the only thing right now that trades 24/7. And soon they're going to trade gold and I think oil at 24 hours for 5 days. So during the trading week. Then eventually it's going to go to 7 days, 24/7. And then the stock market also is supposed to go at some point 24/5 and then 24/7, right? Boy, those stock market crashes are going to be brutal. Right? So they're going to just last. They're going to go fast. They'll be all day long. Usually at the end of the bell, 4 o'clock, then if everything's been selling off like crazy, they get a break and everybody gets to take a breath and, reassess. Now it's going to be just like fall. And then those people that, won't be able to trade, when it does come back around the world and they get to trade again, oh my God, it's going to be bad. So these things are coming. It will be, monumental having 24/7 trading. But in the meantime, they try and do these attacks so they don't make a big impact on the stock market, right? So that's what we're seeing right now. So the memorandum of understanding, the MOU, signed last month, because it's what it is. It's a piece of shit, cow shit, right? Signed last month, lay the groundwork for fully reopening the strait, which Iran effectively closed shortly after the war began. The MOU says Iran will work with Oman to define the future administration. It's all bullshit. It didn't happen. I said it was bullshit. I said there's going to be boots on the ground when this all started. It hasn't happened yet, but I think it's going to happen still, right? And that's the only way this is going to end. And then everybody's going to cry and whine. I think it's happened as long as it has, to get people to the understanding that, hey, we need to take these mofos out, right? So they're out of control. They're part of the Nazi organization like NATO, and we just have to take all these Nazi organizations out. The world's not going to be a safe, happy place without them gone, right? So that's what we're looking at. So you want to be happy, right? You want to be safe. You can't have Nazis running the show. You can't have that. That had to be taken out. Hopefully you guys understand that. All right. The Treasury Department revoked a license Tuesday. So this is going full speed ahead, right? Like we say in the Navy, full speed ahead, and ramming speed and all that stuff. That was a little bit further back, like during Greek days, whatever. All right. So Tuesday, that had authorized the sale. So our Treasury Department authorized that sale. That's interesting how that worked out. And when is the Treasury Department going to invoke the new currency, the gold-backed currency? Come on, let's take this. Let's go full Monty on everything. So that's after the country fired missiles on ships in the Strait of Hormuz. The department approved the 60-day license last month, which waived sanctions on Iranian oil as part of an interim agreement to end the fighting in the Middle East. So now the move is gone. No more move. Moo. Cow shit, right? All the cow shit's done, right? Now we're gonna hammer them. But there are good things that are happening, and one of those is they're starting to turn against each other. Right? So these guys are such clowns. And we used to do this. When I was in the CIA, we used to take out baddies, terrorists, and they were turned against each other, trying to figure out who was telling, right? So, we had some really good people that were telling on them, right? Yeah, they're going to be here this time. So, and make sure when you do the missile strike, you do it before he gets out of the car, because that happened one time where they were waiting to see if it was really him. So he got out of the car, then they shot the missile, and it hit the car and blew up. And he was walking through the gate by then, and he got some damage. All of his protective detail were taken out, and he got some shrapnel, but he lived. So it was so funny. The terrorist that we were working with, it's like what's that, double agent? Guess he was double agent, right? So he was hanging out with them, but he was talking to us. So he was a double agent. And so we got in the car after we failed to kill the terrorist leader. It was a religious leader, an imam, right? So he's going, get them all riled up, and they all loved him. And then he go talk to the terrorists in the province, and they do attacks, and he go back and talk to the people. They get them all riled up, and on Friday, they go out and riot. It's like, God, what? Pakistan, crazy people, wacky packies. So this terrorist gets in the car, and he was a big boy. And in the early days, I'd have to give him a hug, before he got in the car, make sure he didn't have a blow up vest on. It's like, okay, I get to be the pink mist and not you guys. So, but he was a good guy. He was a Taliban guy. He was a big boy. So we were buds, and so I'd hug him, and he'd get in the car, and I check his legs, make sure he didn't have a gun in his socks or anything like that. And so he was good. He was always good. And he started saying, "Why do you guys always have to do this?" And after a while, we stopped. I was like, well, that's when they usually come in and blow themselves up. So I don't know. So he started working with another group that was in another area. All right, that's all I can say about that. But he got in the car, and he's like, "You got to shoot the missile before he gets out of the car." It's like, and I'm thinking in my mind, it's like, God, what a bunch of whack nuts these CIA controllers are, because they want to be in control of everything. And it's brutal common sense for somebody that knows how to blow people up, like myself. Demo guy, and I used to call in fire, and I used to do a lot of firing and all that kind of stuff, and shoot missiles myself. Well, not missiles, RPGs. So anyway, I'm like, God, what the hell? All the work we did, exposing, because it's freaking dangerous work. Because you got the ISI, which is the Pakistani security force, CIA equivalent, which is always watching, and so we had to be very careful. The movement had to be per certain way. Pickup points, were different, and we had to clean ourselves. So I would drive sometimes, and you have to drive for an hour to make sure you clean, and then you come in, you pick the guy up at a certain time, and it's pretty brilliant, all the stuff they do. But this guy getting in and saying, you guys are like not saying it, but he was pissed because, I don't know, maybe he was pissed because he wasn't going to his payoff. I don't know. But he got his payoff on that eventually. And he got his payoff on other ones. So he kept working. And it's pretty amazing guy, actually. He was a Taliban guy, and he fought against our troops. Right? So I don't know if he killed anybody, but he fought against us, and he got wounded. So he worked his wound for a long time. It's like, I can't go back out there because I'm still messed up. And so he was good, actually. And so he was working it, so yeah. And my brother, his business is doing really good. He's into, we made a business for his brother, which was a travel agency. So our boy would travel sometimes because his brother had a travel agency. He was traveling to meet people in CIA, of course. And so see how big this is. It's pretty cool, right? Hopefully I'm not getting myself in trouble exposing too much, but I don't think I am. I think that's all been in movies and everything. Everybody knows about this stuff. So anyway, I'm not saying name any names, pointing out any places or people, and I may or may not be lying about any of this. I may or may not know anything about this, but that's one of the things we say. So anyway, U.S. military taking it to these guys, right? And I guarantee that there are special forces guys, like I used to be, that are there in Iran, and they're working with groups. And also, we've seen up in the northwest corner of Iran, in Iraq, we have the Peshmerga, who I used to work with too when I was in Iran, the northern part, the Kurds. So the Peshmerga, really amazing fighters, right? So they're assassinating IRGC, the Iranian, knuckleheads that are basically running Iran now. They're turning against their political side. The military is basically killing. They're all turning against each other now, is turning against their political side. So let's watch this. This is 2C TV, and he's basically showing us what's happening in Iran. No, that's not the one. These are strikes on Iran. I'll show this 2C TV next. So it's not stopping, and he's going to continue. He's going to continue to basically destroy the deep state. Will we get more people that understand this and watch and get involved in this, like myself, informing people? Maybe. Now they're turning on each other. Like I said, I've seen this before. When things start to really fall apart, they start to turn against each other. Right? So that's kind of what we want. It's kind of like the leftists don't have babies. They're in revolt. Right? Men don't like leftist women, and women don't like leftist men. So it works out pretty good. So they're just going to cancel each other out over time, and we don't have any problems. Right? So be those of us that are conservative and we want a beautiful society and our kids to grow up, without having to have sex changes and have good education, not be, told that you got to support, Johnny and his sex change. And if you don't support that, like in Europe, there was a teacher that refused to identify a boy that was identifying as a girl. So she continued to identify him as a boy. So she got 700 days in prison. So, I mean, Europe has gone completely bonkers, right? And America would be completely bonkers too if Trump wasn't here, guys. So it is moving in the right direction, but of course it's going to take time. Now we'll probably see a lot of these people that are leftist just die out because they're the ones that really got on board with that. It's not going to work out so good for you guys, right? You're not gonna be able to go forward. So you're basically going to just extinguish yourselves, and don't get the shot either. Oh yeah, all you Democrats just lined up for that, didn't you? Yeah, because that's your boy saying don't worry, and he got sick like 2 or 3 times. All right, so of course that was a clone, so Joe Biden clone. So you guys didn't know that. All right. So he got the shot. He showed, I'm getting the shot. And then the clone died after that because the clone, so that's what happens. Right. It's so funny. All right. So let's look at the weather. All right. So the weather, like I've talked about in a couple times now, is going to get really, really earthquakes and all, volcanoes, all that stuff is really going to start to intensify. And this is we've had several super typhoons that have spun up. We got one that's spinning up, is moving towards Taiwan. And then ultimately it's going to hit China. Now, this is the last typhoon that went in and hit China. And when these typhoons come in and hit China, boy, it just devastates them because they haven't done a really good job of maintaining their environment. They've used their environment, and Earth is like FO, right? F around, and you're going to find out, China, and they're finding out, all right? So you don't mess with Mother Nature, right? And Chinese are finding out what happens when you do. So they've had some devastating storms. Maybe there's been some help with that. I don't know. And not Nino Rodriguez, but El Nino. He's a good guy. All right, so El Nino is probably going to set records. I think it's going to be the hottest the Pacific has ever been. And my wife does that to me sometimes. Ever. It sounds pretty good when I say it too. So it is something that's really going to be devastating, I think, for America as well. Because when those, see how it's slowly like that, it turns like that, and then all of that weather comes to us. It comes to us, and there will be flooding in California, maybe all the way up. I think this is going to be so large. Normally, it stays a little bit further south, but I think this one is going to be so massive that it's going to go all the way up into Oregon, maybe as far as Washington. I don't know, Washington State, and then just flood everything all the way to the east, flooding. So everything's burning right now, especially in Colorado. Illegal immigrants are setting it. No, it's like direct energy weapons are setting them. So they're starting fires in Colorado. They love to set fires in Colorado. I don't know. Maybe that underground base under Denver Airport where all the reptilians are. Maybe they like it hot. It gets chilly and they don't like it. I don't know. So we'll have to ask them someday when we take a prisoner. So they're pretty ruthless. Yeah, they're big too. So we'll take them down eventually. Now, we're seeing a lot of this weather. The next one that's coming for China is going to be just as big, if probably, and maybe even more devastating than the one you just saw. So this is the next one. Let me bring this up. So it is Mr. MBB3333. He's got a nice report on this. So let's listen to him.
I mean, the slightest left-hand turn, it's going to go smack dab into Taiwan, where they have a population of 23 million people alone, and it's going to impact Taiwan in the form of rain and high winds, but it's just not going to make a direct landfall. At least that's what's being forecasted right now. That could change, and I'm talking it is super, super tight. In fact, Taiwan is in the cone. A little bit of steering to the left, it's going to go to Taiwan. Right now, it's anticipated to make landfall. I mean, I don't know how it's going to do this. It's going to drop from a Category 4, a strong Category 4, to a Category 2 as it makes landfall right in the middle of, where are we at here? Google Earth. Here we go. Populations of 10 million and 8 million plus, just a lot of people. This is a super densely populated area, as you can clearly see. Look at that. That's right where it's going, right into millions of people. So we're keeping an eye on that. That is a big, strong storm, and it means business. And I mean, it's loaded with moisture. This thing is super, super wet, and it's strong. It's a, again, very large storm that it just made a turn to the left. Did you see that? Right as we went to the page, it tilted to the left. Super typhoon, 150 mile an hour. That's a big storm. What?
Did you see that? It turned to the left. I can't do my voice like that, but he does a really good job of it. I like listening to him. He's like, he gets you all excited. It's like, wow, it's exciting. So it is getting interesting out there weather-wise. And, these deep staters, they're still going to play their games. World could be, devastated, and they're still doing their stuff. All right. But we're calling them out. I think we're doing a pretty good job calling them out. Like Dolly Parton. So Dolly Parton. And we have to end with this one. All right. Because she's 80. She looks 80, doesn't she? All right, Clone? Anyone? So Dolly Parton asked Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce if she can have their first baby. Why would you want their first baby? Is that why you're so young? I don't know. But they donated $2 million to her. What's going on? Why Dolly Parton? Why Dolly Parton? Look at that. And her husband died several years back. I wonder what secrets he took to the grave, right? Is Dolly really a woman? I don't know. She never had kids. So the Jolene hitmaker added, the mission of the Dollywood Foundation is to dream more, care more, and have lots of kids that come to her amusement parks. Have any of them been disappearing there? Anyway, let's look at what's happening here. There is some signing that goes on, and it looks like some devil stuff. Let's watch.
Taylor and Travis, it's Dolly, and I was just told that you two are making a donation of $2 million to my imagination library. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm blown away and overjoyed with that gratitude. Now, it's evident that you two have made giving back a key part of your lives. So, hey, when you have your firstborn.
Oh, look at that devil sign. Oh, she made it. She did it. She did the devil sign right there, guys. So when you have that first kid, I want it.
I have it because that is going to be one special baby. The mission.
Why is she slurring? So anyway, they play their little games. They make their little signs at each other, and they talk their ridiculousness. So I don't know. Maybe Taylor Swift and Travis they they owe the deep state their first, their firstborn. Right. And that's going to be very interesting to see if that actually happens. All right. Kind of like Glitch Mitch, walks back out. It's like, what? I'm cool, but yeah, I fell down. I got hurt myself, but that's all. Right. So, okay. And I guess, he was being wheelchaired around for a little bit. He would glitch pretty good. And his handlers, John Thune and a couple of other senators, would come up, when he started to talk a little bit, and they touch him. There's some place that they have on his arm. So they would come up and they grasp him, and he'd just go, boop. He glitched. He would glitch, and he'd just go quiet. And then they were like, yeah, Mitch, can you come this way? So they take him away. He was starting to reveal some stuff they didn't want him to reveal. So they shut him down. Somebody stepped in and touched him, and it's like, oh, whoop, turn him off. All right. And then he was falling down. He kept falling down. And some of these senators, I don't know, maybe they just get ornery and they don't want to play the game anymore. And they're like, you got to play the game. You got all these things that we gave you, all these millions, like Nancy Pelosi. She's not messing around. So how much has she made as a senator? As a congresswoman in her time? 3, 4, 5 million, who knows? But she's worth 300 million. So yeah, she's given a lot. She's done a lot for the deep state. So she can't just walk away, even though her husband is like a gay man and, gets drunk and runs over people and runs away thinking he can get away with that. It's just things are changing. We're getting wiser to their craziness and calling it out. And this is one of the things that really makes a difference, guys. Start to call it out, sharing videos like this. And, probably some of your friends are like, I watched the last video that guy did, and I don't believe any of that bullshit. But then you share another one. They're like, watch it at 333 and whatever number it is. And they watch that and they're like, so I've heard that before. And then the unwind starts. They wait. They're no longer woke. And then they actually get a girlfriend or boyfriend and have babies. So, there's hope for these people. I don't know. Not for all of them, but of course, because some of them have strayed too far, like Dolly wanting the firstborn. Right? I don't know. I don't know about that one, guys. That's pretty strange to me. And making that devil horn sign. Yeah. Okay, Dolly, we see it. And they don't care. They don't care. They're just going to do it. Dolly, she's 80. She doesn't care anymore. She's been playing a game. It doesn't matter to her anymore. I don't care. I don't care. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do my thing. Give me your firstborn, right? And well, what are you going to do with my firstborn? It's none of your business. I'm going to love them. I'm going to take them to Dollywood, and we're going to ride rides together, like Disney World and Disneyland and all that stuff. Right? All right, guys. Lots of love. Stay in the love vibration. Things are being revealed. It's happening. Of course, these guys don't really like it when we know too much. So they're going to get a little feisty with us, like they just did with the Iran shooting missiles that they said they wouldn't hit anymore, so they did anyway. While NATO's meeting, and Trump dimed up NATO, so they're like, "All right, we'll show him. All right, we'll see what happens." All right, stay in love vibration. We'll see you guys next time.
Judy note: the greatest military sting operation the world has ever known was in motion right now, engineered by President Trump's global military alliance of 200-plus nations. Military units have been mobilized across the globe for a coordinated strike to destroy the Satan worshipper deep state cabal elite power structure. On Sunday, 5th of July at 6:13 a.m. EST, Operation Mass Arrest 0705 began according to Pentagon sources. Deep state operatives were being detained, 847 federal judges arrested for treason, corruption, crimes against humanity, 456 CIA officials indicted for assassinations, drug trafficking, mind control, 234 senators and congressmen arrested for treason, bribery and election fraud, and 678 FBI officials arrested for obstruction, cover-ups and corruption. On Saturday, July 4, 2026 at 11:12 UTC, in tandem with the military sting operation, Quantum Financial Keys overrode the legacy mainframe of the Vatican Bank. It was an automated asset liquidation mandated by the Global Military Alliance under the new financial system ISO 20022 protocols. The centuries-old monopoly on the world's stolen wealth had dissolved in a fraction of a second with this finalization of a global currency reset to gold/asset-backed currencies of 209 nations. Pentagon sources confirmed that a complete financial system reset was taking place, deep state assets frozen, €847 billion seized, corrupt banks shut down, Federal Reserve under military control, new financial system activated, QFS operational, and citizens compensated as debt forgiveness begins. On Tuesday, July 7, 2026, a worldwide debt jubilee and RV of currencies to gold/asset-backed will activate, while law enforcement shifts to natural constitutional law. Trump's global military alliance has taken down the Rothschild weather modification system. Secret treaties signed in Rome under the old empire that gave Rothschild private central banks the legal right to treat sovereign citizens as collateral, were declared null and void under maritime natural law. As the new quantum financial system drained the Vatican's mainframes, the action unsealed hidden ledgers of the true birthright identities of each and every soul on this planet. That meant all synthetic debt bonds, all fraudulent lifetime loans, all generational tax loops tied to the old Roman financial grid were permanently deleted from the master database. Mainstream channel corporate owners were locked out and broke, with no money to pay themselves, let alone their employees. Meanwhile, there were 50,000 specially trained troops awaiting orders for a worldwide lockdown. Special military units from Russia, Brazil, Europe, France and Germany had been placed in Texas, Florida, New York City and Washington, D.C. for high-profile arrests of corrupt elite cabal members, bankers, politicians, media moguls. Within the next day or so, temporary martial law would be in effect across the globe. The Emergency Broadcast System, EBS, would activate over every cell phone on Earth to announce a 48-hour blackout and lockdown, followed by 10 days of communication darkness across the world. For those 10 days, everyone will be asked to stay at home during a specific 5-hour window. Normal communication would cease during that time while the military alliance continued to make mass arrests. As they did, the mainstream media would be overtaken by documentaries expounding truth across every TV, radio and internet broadcast worldwide. This would be a time of communication reset, with weaponized cell towers neutralized, the banking system frozen and ATMs, credit and debit cards not working. Prepare by stocking food, cash and essentials. Banks and ATMs would be closed. The military would be handing out food and other essentials for those in need, while the EBS would continue to give instructions through everyone's cell phones. According to the Pentagon Insider on Telegram, in Hollywood, Mel Gibson was going nuclear. He was dropping bombshell evidence before Congress, naming Gavin Newsom, Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris and the rest of California's most powerful political machine in what he said was the biggest Hollywood scandal in history. Gibson claimed to have the receipts, visitation records, exact dates and locations, photographs, and video that he claims expose a long-rumored child trafficking network operating inside elite California political and Hollywood circles. At the same time, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese resigned and promptly disappeared. The White Hats and International Maritime Alliance had seized the Australian Treasury after they found 1. $64 million routed to 9 senior Australian ministers for the purpose of destroying Australian domestic farming so as to create a food shortage. 2. A plan to block the global currency reset. 3. A plan to deploy the military against their own Australian citizens if the global restoration plan was announced. Another example of the globalist plan to destroy the world population was found in actions of the Clinton Foundation. On Friday, July 3, 2026, Venezuela kicked out the Clinton Foundation from their country for trafficking children amid earthquake chaos. Clinton Foundation teams were immediately on the ground during the earthquake-ravaged Venezuela disaster. Shocking. A few days ago, Trump's global military alliance of 6 nations disconnected the Rothschilds' weather modification system. The fuel for the Satan-worshipping Rothschild power structure over humanity was money. Rothschild have controlled European banks since 1815 and the American monetary system since 1913. The Rothschild ran Epstein Island and the blackmailing of politicians in Congress to maintain their power over the people. This last weekend Trump and the BRICS alliance, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, gold/asset-backed currencies of 209 nations global currency reset was taking away Rothschild control of the people's tax monies and giving it back to the people. The weather was no longer a weapon. For the first time since 1979, the skies belong to no one. For the first time since 1913 in America and 1815 in Europe, the global monetary system would be under control of the people. Actually, since Friday, May 1, 2016, the gold/asset-backed quantum financial system has been secretly operational and 100% live across the globe. Banks have been seized and troops were enforcing the global currency reset nationwide. Be aware that as stated, the Emergency Broadcast System, EBS, worldwide activation was imminent, complete with 10 to 12 days of controlled blackout. When the EBS hits, you'll witness the fall of the media, banks, elite and their demonic empire. Martial law will shield civilians, while truth floods every screen on Earth via the Starlink satellite system. The storm was now. Judy note, for the past 12 years in my daily update, Restored Republic via GCR, I have tried to keep the public posted on the latest news regarding the global currency reset and formation of the Restored Republic under concepts of the original Constitution. As of Saturday, July 4, 2026, the trap was broken. Your debts were legally null and void. The biggest lie you were ever told was that you owe them your life. The fiat currency system was officially dead. While you were reading this, the quantum financial system, QFS, was overriding every central bank backend, from Bulgaria to America. They wanted you poor and controlled. The quantum system just made every citizen a shareholder of Earth. The Q awakening on Telegram. Monday, July 6, 2026. The U.S. Department of Justice has been secretly surveying California's Governor Newsom for at least the last 5 years and reportedly has proof of $100s of millions stolen by the Pelosi crime network that Newsom served in for decades. Monday, July 6, 2026. Vladimir Putin, 85% of the Bolshevik government were Jewish. Rothschild Khazarian mafia and those followers of false ideological thoughts have been repressing Jews, Christians, Muslims and other religious followers. They are the enemy of peace. 10 Days of Darkness on Telegram. Sunday, July 5, 2026. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was given 6 hours to sign his power over to the Interim Military Civilian Oversight Board, or to face tribunals under maritime natural law. He has since disappeared. The International Maritime Alliance, in collaboration with local military white hats, seized the Australian Treasury after they found 1. Private wires totaling $64 million routed from offshore accounts into 9 senior Australian ministers with a purpose to destroy the domestic farming industry so as to create a food shortage and to force compliance with globalists. 2. A plan to block the global currency reset. 3. A plan to deploy the military against their own citizens if the Global Restoration Plan was announced. Sunday, July 5, 2026. Obama never should have legally been on the ballot in 2008. Obama did not have enough of the 500 signatures needed, with 100 to 200 fraudulent signatures found by prosecutors to even qualify to be put on the ballot. Indiana Democrat operatives were caught and convicted for faking signatures for Obama and Hillary Clinton 3 years after the 2008 election. Tier 4B ISO 200. Sunday, July 5, 2026. Kennedy on fraud-riddled Obamacare. We are getting $100 million a year stolen from us because of specific policies that were adopted by the Biden White House. Sunday, July 5, 2020. Our Director of National Intelligence was telling us our own intelligence community said multiple times Russia couldn't hack our elections. Then Barack Obama overrode them, pulled their findings, and fabricated his own. Friday, July 3, 2026. For 47 years, the Rothschild controlled the skies through a network of 22 weather modification stations that could direct hurricanes, droughts, floods, and earthquakes, on demand, to any place on Earth. The program was funded by a labyrinth of NGOs, carbon credit systems and green energy foundations, all connected to Rothschild European banks since 1815. A few days ago, the last station was disconnected, Seized in Trump's global military alliance operation, New World Order on Telegram. Monday, July 6, 2026. Mass arrests begin. Deep state operatives detained. Federal judges indicted. Senators arrested for treason. Military tribunals activated. July 5, 2026. 6:15 a.m. EST. Pentagon sources confirm Operation Mass Arrest 0705. Coordinated military operations across all 50 states. Simultaneous arrests of deep state operatives, federal judges, senators, and CIA officials. The mass arrests operation begins. Pentagon sources confirm coordinated military arrests across all 50 states. Black small square emoji. 847 federal judges arrested. Treason, corruption, crimes against humanity. Black small square emoji. 234 senators and congressmen arrested. Treason, bribery, election fraud. Black small square emoji. 456 CIA operatives arrested. Assassinations, drug trafficking, mind control. Black small square emoji. 678 FBI officials arrested. Obstruction, cover-ups, corruption. The federal judges indicted. Treason charges. 847 federal judges indicted for treason. Black small square emoji. Protecting cartel members. 4.2 billion euros in bribes. Black small square emoji. Blocking investigations. Obstruction of justice. Black small square emoji. Releasing criminals. Protecting deep state operatives. Black small square emoji. Crimes against humanity. The federal judges are being prosecuted. The senators arrested. Election fraud exposed. 234 senators and congressmen arrested for election fraud and treason. Black small square emoji. Rigging elections. 2020, 2022, 2024 elections rigged. Black small square emoji. Accepting bribes. Foreign governments, cartels, corporations. Black small square emoji. Committing treason. Selling out America to foreign powers. Black small square emoji. Crimes against humanity. Authorizing wars, funding terrorism. The senators are being arrested. The financial system reset. Deep state assets frozen. Pentagon sources confirm complete financial system reset. Black small square emoji. Deep state assets frozen. 847 billion euros seized. Black small square emoji. Corrupt banks shut down. Federal Reserve under military control. Black small square emoji. New financial system activated. QFS operational. Black small square emoji. Citizens compensated. Debt forgiveness begins. The financial reset is underway. The global dimension. 47 countries coordinated. Pentagon confirms coordinated military operations in 47 countries. Black small square emoji. Deep state operatives arrested globally. 23,000 plus indictments unsealed. Black small square emoji. Criminal networks dismantled. Cartels, trafficking rings, corruption networks. Black small square emoji. Military tribunals active. Global justice begins. Black small square emoji. New world order established. Free nations united. This is global military operation. The classified timeline. Phase 1, intelligence gathering. Phase 2, covert surveillance. Phase 3, coordinated extraction. Phase 4, federal purge. Phase 5, global reformation. Phase 6, military takeover. Phase 7, mass arrests. We're here. The deep state panic. The deep state is in complete collapse. They're being arrested. Their crimes are being exposed. Their system is being dismantled. Their assets are being seized. Friday, July 3, 2026, Jazara/Nizara Protocols broadcast. All mortgages, credit cards and student loans linked to usury were frozen for liquidation. Saturday, July 4, 2026, behind closed doors the new quantum financial system has been infiltrating the cabal's old SWIFT fiat currency infrastructure. Account freezes were real and the military has been positioned for final transition. Also on July 4, 2026 at 11:12 UTC with the military tribunals begun, quantum financial keys overrode the legacy mainframe of the Vatican Bank and the assets of the corrupt were seized and redistributed to the Humanity Reclamation Fund. Every citizen would soon be allocated a secure digital vault backed by physical gold. On Sunday 5th of July at 6:13 a.m. EST Operation Mass Arrest 0705 began. 847 federal judges, 456 CIA officials, 234 senators/congressmen and 678 FBI officials arrested. global liquidity release. On Tuesday, July 7, 2026, a worldwide debt jubilee and RV of currencies to gold/asset-backed activates. Law enforcement shifts to natural law protections under concepts of the original Constitution. The revaluation, RV, of 209 countries' currencies to be gold/asset-backed comes fully alive. Debt jubilee activation begins for those whose accounts have been cleared. Wednesday, July 8, 2026, hidden technologies, Tesla free energy and suppressed medical advancements, MedBeds, officially will be unveiled and released to the general public. Thursday, July 9, 2026, global celebration protocols enabled. Local communities organize freedom assemblies to distribute the first wave of restoration funds. Mortgages and debt ledgers, permanently detached from the central banking grid. The zero-out sequence is running. The SWIFT protocol, completely bypassed. The digital ghost town has no path back to reality. Your quantum vaults, fully calibrated. The new asset-backed valuation is ready to populate your screens. Sunday, July 5, 2026, the Roman cash has been breached. The ledger is empty. The quantum financial keys overrode the legacy mainframe of the Istituto per l'Opera di Religione, the Vatican Bank. This wasn't a cyber attack. It was an automated asset liquidation mandated by the Global Alliance under the non-reversible ISO 20022 protocols. The centuries-old monopoly on the world's stolen wealth just dissolved in a fraction of a second. Here is the raw data pulled from the deep net tracking screens. The metric ton liquidation, over 14,000 metric tons of physical gold, secretly held in subterranean vaults beneath the Holy See, had been electronically tagged and reassigned to the restored Republic treasuries. The black budget collapse, the offshore accounts used to finance the deep state matrix for the last 2 centuries were frozen mid-transaction. The fiat pipeline is dead. Tier 4B inbounds, the gold backings are being routed into the secure distribution vaults as you read this. The calibration is complete. The old gatekeepers weren't asked for permission. Their decryption authorities were permanently revoked by the Quantum Financial System, QFS, the moment the clock hit the execution window. They kept humanity in debt slavery by backing their paper money with air and locking the world's real wealth in dark vaults. That game is over. The wealth of the earth is being returned to the living ledger. The UK fell. France fractured. Canada is cleansed. Australia is secured. The Fed was severed. And now, the root of the spiritual and financial control system has been completely dug up. Saturday, July 4, 2026, it's over. While you are looking at the headlines, I am looking at the live ISO 20022 integration sheets. The migration didn't just start, it has already overtaken the legacy mainframes. I told you Tier 4B liquidities were positioning, and now the ledger is officially moving under my coordinates, Tier 4B ISO 20022 on Telegram. Here is what I am seeing on the back end right now: mortgages and debt ledgers, permanently detached from the central banking grid. The zero-out sequence is running. The SWIFT protocol, completely bypassed. The digital ghost town has no path back to reality. Your quantum vaults, fully calibrated. The new asset-backed valuation is ready to populate your screens. I didn't lay out the timeline to convince you. I did it so you wouldn't panic when the global reset forces the final update. You wanted a sign. I just gave you the entire map. Sunday, July 5, 2026, President Trump unleashed a brutal attack on Ukraine and NATO, suggesting the possibility of an investigation into United States aid to Ukraine. He said, Biden gave them between $350 and $400 million in equipment and cash. Somebody has to find out about the cash. MAGA Intel Hub on Telegram. Sunday, July 5, 2026, John McAfee. The mainstream media has been using a technology called neurolinguistic programming for more than 15 years. And that neurolinguistic programming makes you think and believe things which are not true. Sunday, July 5, 2026, Australia. The Southern Command is just activated. Australia is headline news in 24 hours. Tier 4B. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has gone into hiding. The press pool is being told it's a classified diplomatic security lockdown. Bullshit. Tranche 2, the Sydney Protocol, a classified military briefing of July 1 shows that the Australian central banking backend was actively trying to block the mandatory ISO 20022 asset-backed migration. They were preparing for a localized digital blackout to freeze all private retail accounts, hoping to blame a fictional foreign cyber attack for public savings loss. Tranche 3, the exclusion files, the last red line. Albanese signature was found on a co-signed treaty with the old UK and Canadian leadership, outlining a synchronized deployment of the military against their own citizens if the Global Restoration Plan was announced. The Western Alliance indictments that have been unsealed perfectly match flight manifests and military logs. The Prime Minister was met at his private residence by 3 high-ranking generals. There was no political deal on offer, no graceful exit. He was given 6 hours to sign the unconditional devolution of power over the Federal Treasury to the Interim Military Civilian Oversight Board, or to board a transport plane immediately and face tribunals under maritime natural law. There is total panic in the Canberra political grid. They are looking at the clock, and the clock is 0. Goodbye UK. France is changing. Canada is clean. Tonight Australia is breaking. The whole globalist spine has just been broken. Sunday, July 5, 2020. Our Director of National Intelligence is telling us our own intelligence community said multiple times Russia couldn't hack our elections. Then Barack Obama overrode them, pulled their findings, and fabricated his own. We had a situation here where in the months leading up to the 2016 election, the intelligence community assessed, and this is what the documents detail, the intelligence community assessed essentially, Russia doesn't have the tools, the capability or the intent to try to change the outcome of the U.S. presidential election. Donald Trump pulls off a historic victory against Hillary Clinton in November of 2016. Even in the days after that election, the intelligence community continued their consistent assessment that reflected the same thing in the months leading up to the election. All of a sudden, in the early days of December, there was a President's Daily Brief that was drafted. This is put together by the different elements of the intelligence community that reflected that same assessment. Russia did not try to hack the election. In essence, that PDB, that document was pulled hours before it was supposed to be published for the president to see that following morning. That document was never published until we released it yesterday. 1 day later, President Obama calls a meeting of his National Security Council, his top officials, to be held on what they called a sensitive topic. And the results of that meeting, which we released yesterday, and these over 100 documents that talk about in detail how President Obama and his team, he directed a manufactured piece of intelligence that detailed not if, but how Russia tried to influence the outcome. Let me remind everyone, Tulsi Gabbard recommended Barack Obama to the DOJ for criminal prosecution 10 months ago. The charges she recommended were for treasonous conspiracy, manufacturing and politicizing intelligence and withholding and leaking classified information. Tulsi Gabbard provided the DOJ with proof that Barack Obama orchestrated the Russia collusion hoax and worked with the CIA to manufacture fake evidence. Where's the indictment? Trump got a legal loan and got indicted. They almost threw him in prison for multiple lifetimes. Barack Obama committed literal treason, documented treason, and nothing. And Friday, July 3, 2026, the Rothschild have just begun to lose control of the weather. For 47 years, they have controlled the skies through a network of 22 weather modification stations that could direct hurricanes, droughts, floods, and earthquakes, on demand, to any place on Earth. The program was called Throne Climate and was funded by a labyrinth of NGOs, carbon credit systems, and green energy foundations, all connected to the same family office in Geneva that has controlled European banks since 1815. A few days ago, the last station was disconnected, seized in a military operation involving 6 nations that have never publicly acknowledged working together. The weather is no longer a weapon. For the first time since 1979, the skies belong to no one. Every natural disaster of the last 47 years had a signature, a digital fingerprint embedded in the ionosphere that preceded it. HAARP researchers have detected it for decades. They were ridiculed, but they were right about everything. Hurricane Katrina, frequency trace detected 72 hours before impact. The 2010 Haiti earthquake has the same frequency signature, originating from a station in Venezuela. The 2011 earthquake, signature attributed to a flagless ship operating in the Pacific. The ship's registration, obtained via QFS Maritime Tracking, belongs to a company conveniently located in the Cayman Islands. The company's sole director, a family trust of the Rothschild family. They didn't predict disasters, they ordered them. Why control the weather? Because the weather controls everything. food prices, insurance markets, government stability, migration systems, election outcomes. They didn't need an army. $4.2 trillion in natural disaster damages since 1979. Betting on the destruction they created. Harvesting the suffering they caused. For the first time in half a century, the rain will fall where it should fall. Oh, Friday, July 3, 2026. Dialogue is burning. Elite network exposed. Deal's empire crumbling. June 23, 2026. The hack begins. By June 29, the entire elite network is exposed. Pentagon investigating. White House intelligence officials compromised. This is not a data breach. This is Operation Elite Exposure. Command Center for Tech Billionaires, intelligence officials, Pentagon insiders. Coordinated military operations. Profited from war. Traded on classified info. Leak exposes, membership lists. Attendee names. AI profiling. Members ranked A, B, C. Pentagon sources, dialogue connected to Polymarket. Betting. Military ops. All connected. June 26, Pentagon investigates. Bolton guilty. Signal. June 28, Polymarket scandal. $2.4 million betting. Smoking gun. June 29, exposure continues. Elite panicking. July 1, Pentagon report. Phase 2. July 15, congressional hearings. Phase 2, 3. August 1, arrests. Phase 3, 4. Pentagon lost control of military operations. The intelligence network was compromised. Dialogue coordinated ops. Polymarket bet on them. Pentagon profited. Intelligence compromised. 9 Polymarket accounts. $2.4 million profits. Betting on U.S. military ops. 1 made $400,000. Classified info used. Dialogue members, national security officials. Special ops personnel. Exposed. Compromised. Profiting. Pentagon, this goes to the top. Trump officials. Intelligence leaders. All connected. Capitol Hill, hearings will be explosive. Intelligence, we're powerless. Leak complete. How many military ops through dialogue? How many time for Polymarket profits? 100 plus dialogue members exposed. Intelligence. Pentagon. Trump admin. Leak complete. Evidence overwhelming. Confirmed. Capitol Hill, hearings will expose everything. Verified. Intelligence, deals network finished. Deal is finished. Dialogue is burning. The empire is crumbling. This is warfare. This is justice. This is America reclaiming power back. Monday, July 6, 2026. U.S. Patent Number 10,556,120. Filed 2017. Granted 2020. Title: Nervous System Manipulation by Electromagnetic Fields from Monitors. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a United States patent. Publicly searchable on the U.S. TOE database. Filed by Hendrikus G. Luz. Granted by the United States Patent and Trademark Office. The patent describes a method to manipulate the human nervous system remotely using pulsed electromagnetic fields emitted from television screens, computer monitors, and mobile devices. Read that again. A patented method to control your nervous system through the screen you are looking at right now. It is not the only one. U.S. Patent Number 6,506,148, Nervous System Manipulation by Electromagnetic Fields from Monitors. Granted 2003. U.S. Patent Number 5,159,703, Silent Subliminal Presentation System. Granted 1992. U.S. Patent Number 3,951,134, Apparatus and Method for Remotely Monitoring and Altering Brain Waves. Granted 1976. 6 patents. Exposed. On public record. Spanning 44 years of development. All describing technology to remotely influence, manipulate, or control the human nervous system through electromagnetic frequencies.
Founder, owner, administrator of Dinar Chronicles, Operation Disclosure Official, and Voyages of Light. We have received reports from July 5th claiming that Alpine Command was activated, leading to a joint military intelligence task force and European White Hat Division commands executing a tactical raid on the World Economic Forum headquarters in Geneva. This alleged operation supposedly uncovered plans for the total biomechanical enslavement of humanity, exposed secret bank logs detailing $82 billion funneled to prominent Western leaders. Lockdown script was corrupted by a new quantum system. Furthermore, over 400 high-ranking corporate executives and unelected globalist officials were allegedly issued unconditional surrender orders, with the Post proclaiming that the globalist spine has just been snapped. The global financial system has officially migrated to the ISO 20022 standard. This significant shift renders legacy SWIFT protocols obsolete, initiating a total decoupling from traditional central banking debt ledgers. This transition marks the activation of Tier 4B liquidity and the calibration of quantum vaults, moving the world into a Web 3.0 financial environment where asset-backed valuations replace fiat structures through an automated zero-out sequence of legacy debts. Ultimately, this represents a systematic reset, replacing aging mainframes with a high-speed digital ledger infrastructure for the modern era. Possible timing. Monday, July 6, 2026, following the activation of Alpine Command and the alleged raid on the World Economic Forum headquarters, the immediate implications of the globalist spine being snapped are expected to begin surfacing. Concurrently, the first 24 hours of the critical 72-hour execution plan for the global financial reset will commence. This period will see the initial shift towards a structured approach to debt management within the newly migrated ISO 20022 financial system, officially decoupled from traditional central banking debt ledgers. Tuesday, July 7, 2026, the second day of the 72-hour operational framework, will focus on navigating the transition into the Web 3.0 financial environment. With Tier 4B liquidity activated and quantum vaults calibrating, the world is moving towards asset-backed valuations, replacing fiat structures. Alleged ongoing covert operations, including the deployment of classified shockwave and direct energy weapons in Colombian drug labs, and the fight against hidden forces in underground bases, may continue to generate unexpected earthquakes globally. Wednesday, July 8th, today marks the completion of the 72-hour execution plan designed to manage the immediate aftermath of the systematic financial evolution. The zero-out sequence of legacy debts, replacing fiat structures with asset-backed valuations, is anticipated to become actively apparent or widely discussed. This finalizes the transition to a high-speed digital ledger infrastructure, marking a total systematic reset and the full operational implementation of the ISO 20022. Thursday, July 9th, with the global financial system fully integrated into the Web 3.0, the focus for participants shifts towards establishing financial independence. The alleged uncovering of plans for total biochemical enslavement of humanity and the exposure of secret bank logs during the WEF raid may lead to increased public awareness or discussions regarding these revelations and their long-term implications for global governance. Friday, July 10th, as the new financial paradigm solidifies, ongoing domestic efforts, such as the restoration of Washington, D.C.'s historic monuments, from the Andrew Jackson statue's cannons to the Lincoln reflecting pole, are expected to continue. Meanwhile, the strategic deployment of advanced U.S. military assets, including bulletproof super soldiers with advanced armor and Teslatron-powered gravity rigs, may remain a subject of QAnon. Related discussions concerning the covert global conflict are expected to continue influencing narratives surrounding public health and surveillance. As the world adjusts to the post-reset reality, individuals are encouraged to prioritize psychological clarity over panic and build foundational support systems outside traditional institutional control to counter increasing government narratives around digital safety. Global Currency Reset. Sunday, July 5th, Web 3.0, ISO 20022, the global financial system has officially migrated to the ISO 20, rendering legacy SWIFT protocols obsolete and initiating a total decoupling from traditional central banking debt ledgers. This transition marks the activation of Tier 4B liquidity and the calibration of quantum vaults, moving the world into a Web 3.0 financial environment where asset-backed valuations replace fiat structures through an automated zero-out sequence of legacy debts. Ultimately, this shift represents a localized and systematic reset, replacing aging mainframes with a high-speed digital ledger infrastructure designed for the modern era. Sunday, July 5th, as the transition toward a Web 3.0 ISO 20022 infrastructure approaches, the focus must shift from debating the validity of the global financial reset to establishing a rigorous operational framework for the immediate aftermath. This systematic evolution demands more than just anticipation. It requires a structured 72-hour execution plan, definitive debt management strategies, and a commitment to financial independence to counter increasing government narratives surrounding digital safety and surveillance. By prioritizing psychological clarity over panic and building a foundation that exists outside traditional institutional control, participants can successfully navigate the transition, ensuring they are not just recipients of new wealth, but resilient architects of their own future in a post-switch economy.
Switzerland is headline news within 24 hours. The World Economic Forum headquarters in Geneva has just gone dark. The mainstream press pool is being told it's a routine scheduled system maintenance. BS. Klaus Schwab has vanished from the public eye. The globalist handlers are scrambling to generic AI-generated video loops to pretend he is still directing operations. But the private patriot intelligence groups already have the decryption keys. The mainstream channels are frozen in terror, waiting for orders from a Swiss command center that has been completely neutralized. Here is the raw, unedited truth of what was pulled from the subterranean servers beneath Davos last night. A joint military intelligence task force, cooperating with European White Hat Division commands, initiated a forced tactical raid on the central servers of the Globalist Planning Committee. They didn't come to audit, they came with absolute execution warrants. What they extracted from the encrypted drives wasn't an economic plan. It was the final layout for the total biomechanical enslavement of humanity, instead of the usual political negotiations. The Alliance High Command has split the confiscated data into 3 devastating tranches of high treason. Tranche 1, the Davos liquidation. Encrypted bank logs expose a secret web of private wires routing over $82 billion from global black budgets directly into the private accounts of 12 prominent Western leaders. The purpose? To artificially force the digital ID implementation by the end of this year. Through a synchronized collapse of the domestic supply chains. Tranche 2, the Husizio Protocol. Classified internal memos from the World Health Organization reveal the real reason behind the panic. Their centralized authority codes were completely overwritten by the new quantum system. Simulated lockdown script for this winter was permanently corrupted from the master server before they could press the broadcast button. Tranche 3, the globalist indictments. The absolute red line. The unsealed flight manifests and military logs from the Geneva raid match perfectly with global tribunal warrants. Over 400 high-ranking corporate executives and unelected globalist officials were handed unconditional surrender orders. They weren't offered deals. They were given hours to sign the full forfeiture of their corporate assets to the restored Republic Treasury or face immediate processing under military maritime law. The political grid in Europe is in total unedited panic. They are looking at the countdown clock and the screen is flashing red. The old dynasties are gone. The corporate landlord is broken. The central banks are severed. Davos is falling tonight. The entire globalist spine has just been snapped.
Sunday, July 5th, 2026, 022 is live. Tier 4B liquidities positioning, Web 3.0. While you are looking at the headlines, to integration sheets. The migration didn't just start, it has already overtaken the legacy mainframes. I told you Tier 4B liquidities were positioning, and now the ledger is officially moving under my coordinates. Here is what I'm seeing on the back end right now. Mortgages and debt ledgers, permanently detached from the central banking grid. The zero-out sequence is running. The SWIFT protocol completely bypassed. The digital ghost town has no path back to reality. Your quantum vaults, fully calibrated. The new asset-backed valuation is ready to populate your screens. I didn't lay out the timeline to convince you. I did it so you wouldn't panic when the global reset forces the final update. You wanted a sign. I just gave you the entire map. Sunday, July 5th, 2026. They aren't preparing you for what happened to 22 on Telegram. Everyone is obsessed with if this will happen. Well, almost no one is ready for what to do once it does. That's the trap. The system is already shifting. The real test is not the exchange itself. It's what you become the moment you're funded and visible. In these last days before July 29th, I'm not chasing confirmation anymore. I'm building structure. A simple written plan for my first 72 hours after exchange. A clear list of debts I will close immediately and which ones I will never touch again. Names of people and projects I will support first. In order, without emotion, making me improvise. Nothing fancy, just decisions made from the numbers hit this before the numbers hit the screen. I'm also nothing fancy, just decisions made from the numbers hit this before the numbers hit the screen. I'm also noticing how the U.S. narrative is being shaped in advance. Financial crime prevention, used as an excuse for more control. Digital safety, framed as a reason to monitor every movement. New talking points that make anyone who wants independence look suspicious. They are preparing the public to accept tighter walls. I am preparing quietly to live outside those walls. One more thing, if you haven't received any direct instruction yet, don't let fear rewrite your identity. There are phases, there are windows. The ledger reads alignment, not panic. Desperation scrambles decisions. Clarity stabilizes your position. I'm using this window to become someone the system can't shake once the switch flips. Someone who can't be bought, rushed, or guilt-tripped, because after July 29th, the real reason won't be whether the reset is real. The question will be whether you are ready to live as if it is. Sunday, July 5th. A DC beautiful update from the Builder-in-Chief. It's hard to keep up with everything POTUS is restoring, but just today he posted that. The cannons surrounding the Andrew Jackson statue have been restored and the graffiti cleaned off. The Korean War Memorial pool is cleaned and clear. The Theodore Roosevelt Island National Memorial with 2 fountains and a statue has been repaired, cleaned, and beautified. The White House North Portico renovation is moving along. The Valor statue, one of the Art of War statues, is being completely re-gilded. The Lincoln reflecting pool that was lately shockingly vandalized is crystal clear, and the first statue for the Triumphal Arch is finished. It's of Abraham Lincoln, 33 Q drops dark to light. This is connected to QTSR's July 4th drop about why so many earthquakes. 1/11/26, cue the Storm Rider. They are talking about this advanced tech and shockwave weapons. Those shockwave weapons being used in Colombia over in the mountains. Only 20 of these super soldiers were running through all of these hundreds of military forces, and there's a shockwave that's going through. Massive reports from Columbia mountains where cartels are producing cocaine at underground facilities. They call U.S. super soldiers El Diablo forces. Powerful soldiers that came into the mountains. The U.S. military is in possession of powerful technology and shockwave weapons, direct energy weapons, sound weapons, sonic weapons. 4/8/26, cue the Storm Rider at Patreon. The future is full of diamonds, real diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, nano diamonds, diamonds from the moon. Super, super advanced tech that makes it possible for aliens, hybrids, reptilians, different beings, spirits to blend into the public. Super, super technology connected to diamonds. Super soldiers wearing graphite, nano diamond bodysuits that protect them when being shot at with sonic weapons or particle weapons. They can run through energy fields and the suit protects them. It's also connected to super magnets. Teslatrons, nanotechnology. Super soldiers wearing this super suit encrusted with graphite and nano diamonds have little Teslatrons spinning faster than light. That creates a gravity suit. That is why you're hearing reports of American soldiers in Iran jumping off planes without parachutes. That would be something to see. They slow down before they hit Earth, then stand up and run off again. The suit pushes them at high speeds. It manipulates gravity. Wow. Can you imagine seeing that? Not knowing what's going on? I think there was a super soldiers running around. 7/4/26, cue the Storm Rider. News 17 channel at Patreon. The earthquake stuff is going to be mind-blowing. Indonesia coast 6.2, Japan coast 6.9, Philippines 6.5, Afghanistan 6.1, Northern California 5.6, Oregon, Anchorage, Mexico, Venezuela, Texas tremors where they shouldn't be earthquakes. This is really big. I was telling you, they're hunting cyborgs, they're hunting aliens, they're hunting hybrids. This is what was happening inside of Israel. Iran, inside the U.S., under Earth, there's a lot of stories of ancient civilizations, aliens, reptilians, different living insect people that live under Earth, also inside Earth. There's different frequencies. Mount Shasta to Alaska to Russia to Ukraine to Germany, Italy, Australia, France, Canada, the U.S. There's these underground webs of energy, force fields. At all these places are underground bases. That's what the fight has been for a long time. These wars to capture underground bases, this war that's secretly happening connected to aliens, to deep state, the cabal, to satanic operations, to satanic aliens. This huge, gigantic war. U.S. super soldiers are going after these operations to either capture or destroy some of these powerful aliens. When they're hitting them with these powerful weapons at the aliens' last moments, their atoms are splitting. When an atom splits, you get this chain reaction of a nuclear explosion. And that's what's happening in these deep down underground bases, causing a ripple effect and causing some of these earthquakes. You're seeing these powerful aliens, powerful different species being annihilated with different weapons. The U.S. is hitting them with advanced technology dues. It's their bodies that is the energy that is exploding and creating the earthquakes.
The sun.
What we think we know, Sunday, July 5th, X22 report episode 3941. Trump set up the economy for gold to revalue. Communist infiltration countered. The X22 report episodes discuss a shift in the U.S. economy towards gold-backed stability and a patriotic movement against deep state influence, advocating for informed citizenry and restoring foundational American values. Sunday, July 5th, 2026. A CERN scientist let something slip. CERN scientist Dr. Clara Nellist announced the Large Hadron Collider's transformation into a more powerful, high-luminosity version, sparking curiosity about its purpose in exploring the universe's mysteries. Sunday, July 5th, X-Spirit, who is changing our reality and why? CERN's Large Hadron Collider, shut down in 2026, aims for upgrades, while alleged Mandela effects suggest altered realities since its full power. This raises questions about reality manipulation and future transformations. Sunday, July 5th, 2026, Axios, Deep State Military Purged. The final phase begins. On July 5th, 2026, the Pentagon rebranded as the Department of War, marking a military takeover with a $1.15 trillion defense bill passed. indicating global military operations and purging of deep state officials. Sunday, July 5th, 2026. Axios, military tribunals activated. On July 5th, 2026, coordinated military operations led to mass arrests of deep state operatives, federal judges, senators, and CIA officials across the U.S., marking a significant regime change. Sunday, July 5th, 2026, breaking special report. America at 250, the system Britain stole and Trump is taking back. Restoring the American system, reclaiming prosperity. Video, the Great Awakening is here. As America hits 250, Donald Trump is tearing down the corrupt British imperial system of high finance that stole our birthright. Discover the deep, dark secret the globalists hid for 125 years and how the American system is restoring prosperity, breaking the chains of financial empires, and reclaiming the nation's divine destiny. Sunday, July 5th, 2026. Intel exclusive. Trump unleashes the $150 trillion secret trust. How Trump overturned Chevron and the Supreme Court just crushed 161 years of globalist debt slavery. Video. The vault is open. Trump unleashes the hidden $150 trillion secret trust to turn American families into millionaires. Discover how Trump overturned Chevron and how the Supreme Court just crushed 161 years of globalist debt slavery. The elites are terrified as the final reset begins into gold and XRP.
Good morning. It's Monday. It's the 6th of July, 2026. And if you're an England fan, you'll be happy because they beat Mexico overnight. But it reminds me of the old saying, give them bread and circuses. They will not revolt. Whilst that game was going on, it was probably one of the biggest circuses you could ever imagine, with penalties, with people being sent off, with everything else. The perfect distraction from Lebanon getting hit by a massive bomb from Israel. Focus on the World Cup. Look over here. Israel has been attacking Lebanon and Gaza while the World Cup's been on. Nothing in mainstream media. A massive attempt at a land grab. But this will all come out in the end. The truth always comes out in the end. This is the beauty of life. Everything comes to light in the end. My second story is the Federal Reserve, which I told you their days were over a long time ago. Now it's becoming public knowledge. The public can now see it. It's now coming into the public domain. The complete collapse of a system called the Federal Reserve that was neither federal or had any reserve. That is being completely dismantled, and I had no idea how big a job that was to dismantle the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, if you actually looked into it, would blow your mind. The levels of corruption, the levels of fraud, you cannot even comprehend what's been going on in the Federal Reserve. They've lost trillions of dollars on paper. Where did it all go? It's all been stolen. And they left it to the taxpayer to pick up the pieces, while the parasite class stole it. Interesting period in this part of the exposure. This is why it was called draining the swamp. The swamp is filthy, the swamp is dirty, and you're now about to see it. And this is the same with the IRS. You're seeing the complete collapse of that in public now. It's been closed down for 4 or 5 years. But they've been sending out letters by their automated systems demanding this, demanding that, demanding the other. But we're now starting to see the complete collapse of the IRS and the Federal Reserve. I told you this 6, 7 years ago. I showed you evidence 5 years ago. Certain people didn't believe it. It's fine, there's no problem with that. I would urge you not to believe it, to do your own research. Because when you do your own research, you find out the truth. My next story is also something that we get called conspiracy theorists about, but is now coming to light. MK Ultra. I've known about this for a number of years now. I've investigated it. I would urge you to do the same. Have a look at what's going on. I've had a number of people very closely involved with MK Ultra on my show. Do your research and then you'll start to find out what's really going on in the world. It'll blow your mind. There is so much happening right now, and the dismantling of the old system and the removal of evil takes time. There's a lot of people who are awake who want it done yesterday. When you start to dig to see how deep the tentacles went, you can see why it's taking the time that it is to dismantle. There are people out there, and I've had direct contact with them, who still believe that they're in control. They still believe that they run the world. Those days are over. We're moving forward, and America, you're moving forward today. After Independence Day, now you've got real independence away from the City of London, the Vatican, Washington, D.C. You've now got a leader who is prepared to lead the American people, who's going to lead you out of the darkness into the light. But boy, oh boy, on the way out, the darkness is attacking like you would never, ever know. My last story just blew my mind. Was invented, you guessed it, by two Jewish Americans. These two men was Louis Goodman and Alfred Gilman. Not in a hospital. This was done in a military weapons lab in 1942. Do your own research and you'll find out. This wasn't done to make you better. This was created to destroy your immune system, and all their trials proved that. It destroyed your immune system completely. The damage by these parasites put into you by the parasite class. We're living in amazing times, but as you wake up to the truth, you'll wake up with joy in your heart and peace in your heart, knowing that their days are over. What's to come is beautiful. We're in a very special time. There's a lot of fearmongers out there trying to distract. There's a lot of circuses trying to divert your attention. Do not be distracted. That was the news on Monday, the 6th of July, 2026.
Intuition secrets. So a little trouble going live because there seems to be a lot of energy in the atmosphere these days. So a lot of energy coming off the sun, impacting us. So I don't know how that's going to end up with the earthquakes and so forth, but they're coming, I believe. So we'll see where they happen. All right. So today, before we get into the despicable war crimes from Ukraine, as they beg on their knees for more blood money from satanic NATO, meeting tomorrow on 7/7, right? So you know how they like those numbers. All right, Laura Loomer, before we get started, Laura Loomer, reporter, claim hospitalized Mitch McConnell is brain dead. Conservative activist Laura Loomer and journalist Desiree Townsend both claimed Monday that Senator Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky, has been declared brain dead, citing unnamed sources. So it's not official yet, but they're leaking it. So I guess that's the way they do things these days. Loomer wrote on X that according to a senior source, she said was close to the White House, McConnell has been declared brain dead and was not expected to recover. High-level sources close to the White House tells me Mitch McConnell is officially brain dead. He's not coming back, right? So his Chinese spy wife is has run to China to tell them to get insights of what she's supposed to do next, right? Yeah, China. So we're working on things, expose things, and I think that's why. Yeah. So why did his wife travel to China? I guess you're on it too. Yeah, it's very good. Why? Why ask why? Because we know that California is basically communist China, right? And I guess Kentucky is too. All right. So and Georgia and you name these places, China has bought them out. So it is what we have to overcome. It's a process. And China Mitch, that's right, Glitch Mitch. So he's bye-bye. And we're going to see, I believe, a lot more of these bad congressional and Senate types are going to start to go bye-bye, right? And they've already been, probably taken off the scene in some cases. Maybe clones or they're running their clones instead. Who knows? All right, we'll figure it out in the long term, or maybe not. We don't need to know. Just all you guys go bye-bye. You don't do anything for us anymore. So why are you taking our money and giving it all away and giving it to communists? So a lot of people are saying the next war is not with Russia or China or anything like that. It's with the communists here in America. So, I don't know. I don't think we're going to go that far, but I do think there's going to be some conflict there. Probably the way these things usually work, just like we saw with the British Empire, they don't go away quietly. You got to run them off with guns, right? So we'll see. You think Mitch? I think Mitch went bye-bye. I think so. His wife was his handler. Yes. I believe his wife was his handler. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. NATO summit in Ankara, Turkey. Test unity as Ukraine war and Trump tensions loom. As NATO leaders gather in Ankara tomorrow, Tuesday, 7/7, the alliance faces a stark test of unity, burden sharing, and strategic clarity. Now, we know in Trump's first term, he went head to head with NATO. He was disgusted with NATO, lots of things, right? He was disgusted with the crazy Green New Deal and all that crazy stuff. So he went head to head with all that. So the war in Ukraine, transatlantic tensions, and Middle East instability, all pressing heavily on the agenda. Now we know that NATO did not help in some cases, actually worked against us in basically taking down the regime, which is very close to collapse in Iran. Now the Iranians just recently had. I thought these guys had to do, like within a couple of days, they had to be buried. Wasn't that the case? Remember Osama bin Laden? They just dumped him out at sea because the Muslims, have to have a burial in a couple of days. So they're like, okay. So they kicked him out of a helicopter into the sea. At least that's a story. Whoever that was playing Obama at that time. Not Obama. Yeah, Obama, right? Osama bin Laden. So I get those two confused every now and then because they're both, Muslims. So it's easy to do that. So and neither one of them are citizens of the United States. So and one of them is maybe both of. Well, I know that one of them had kids, all right, real kids, and the other one borrowed kids. Right? So you figure out which one that is. All right. So the Ankara meeting is overshadowed by renewed friction between Washington and its European allies. U.S. President Donald Trump has again questioned NATO's value. Yes, it should go away, President Trump. Good job. Calling the relationship ridiculous. Bunch of Nazis, all the way from World War II. The Nazis didn't lose, guys. The Nazis are still there. And a lot of the Nazis from World War II, the generals and so forth, once everybody, we won the war. And then quietly we started putting former Nazi generals, into positions of in NATO, running NATO. So that's the real situation of NATO. And the whole time, NATO is supposed to stop Russia. Because the Germans lost against Russia, and they were pretty pissed about it. They're still pissed about it. And that's why Russians are fighting. They're pretty much fighting for their existence. And NATO and Europe are still trying to destroy Russia still. And so we have a country just like we would if Mexico was trying to come into United States or Canada or anything like that, was trying to take down America. And we had, China was, funding through drug money and drugs and, different, fentanyl. Fentanyl is made in China, sent to Mexico, and then comes across the border, and heroin and all that kind of stuff. So, we've called them out about that. And we imagine if China was buying drones for, Mexico, and they were sending drones and blowing our cities up like they're doing in, against Russia right now. A lot of those drones that hit Moscow recently, within the last week or so, they were made in Italy. And we're going to see where Italian drones, and you'd think they'd be smart enough to take the Italian signature, insignias and all that kind of stuff off their drones so they could have deniability. But no, they don't care. They're, part of the satanic, Nazi cult that's NATO. And they're blowing up little girls' schools. And we're going to talk about that. So war crimes have been committed by Ukraine. They try and portray Russia as being evil. It doesn't work because it's lies. And we know that the government of Ukraine is satanic. They basically have taken over churches, Orthodox churches, Russian Orthodox churches in Kyiv, and turned them into, of course, transgender places where they dance around, in the former places where there used to be crosses and all that stuff. So these people are satanic, guys. And they're former Nazis, Bandera group, all the way back to World War II. Remember the concentration camps in Poland? They were run by this group, right? So anyway, U.S. President Donald Trump again questioned NATO's value, calling the relationship ridiculous and not reciprocal, in comments that revive longstanding disputes over defense spending and strategic priorities and responsibilities. I will throw that in. So he says it's ridiculous for the USA to continue along this one-sided path. So this is what the Nazis have done when they did Operation Paperclip, invaded the United States after World War II with their Nazis. They came into the CIA, they came into NASA, they came into our government, NATO, the UN, all these different government agencies. They've infiltrated them. They were basically formed by them. Now we know that after during World War II, Hitler basically escaped with Eva Braun to Argentina. So they went through the lines through Switzerland and then down through Italy, got on a submarine, and then went all the way over to Argentina, where they had Bavarian towns that they had built for decades. And then we went down to Antarctica. They've been down in Antarctica for a long time. We found out about that, and we had the Admiral Byrd fleet that went down there. I think it was like 48, 49, somewhere around in there, which is basically the summertime down there, wintertime in our area, December, January. So because of the flip of the, the lines anyway, so across the equator. So they went down there, and the Germans had been working, with some very bad alien groups, the Draco reptilians and the tall grays. They've been given technologies, and they sent that fleet, running, multiple aircraft carriers and destroyers and cruisers and lots of planes and so forth. They cut those planes in half with direct energy weapons, and so they just hightailed it out of there. So in 1952, several years later, they came in with a fleet of flying saucers and hovered over, and this is all documented, hovered over the Capitol for 6 hours and beamed down and basically took hostage all of the senators and congressmen, the president, and top business people that had gathered to pass laws and so forth. They knew they were going to be there during that time frame, and they made them sign, you either die or you sign these agreements to basically give us the power. We're going to be in control from now on. So they signed, and fortunately, we had President Ike come in, and he started the White Hat. So that's kind of where we're at right now. President Trump, of course, being part of the White House, White Hats, White House, White Hat. Right? So that's a nice play on words. So we're seeing basically the White Hats are taking down with President Trump as their leader at this point, taking down this system slowly, methodically. So we're seeing it being taken down across the board. Now, as someone that has fought against enemies, foreign and now domestic, for well over 35 years, and now going into over 50 years now, 35, 40 years now, we're seeing this system being taken down. So as someone that has fought, as a special forces guy and, in the CIA, and now as a truther, spreading good information, to keep everybody informed. What we're seeing now is a takedown of all these different systems. So you can't, like the Bush and Obama and all these other idiots, they would tell everybody what we're going to do. We're going to come into Iraq on this day. It's like, so you guys hide all those, missiles and, weapons of mass destruction, send them over to Syria where they'll be safe for a little while. And we'll have our weapons and CIA weapons, inspector, like I was involved in that. And they disappeared. We knew they went up. We knew we were following the trail over into Syria. I was part of that. And then the shit hit the fan, like they planned. And so they called it off. We couldn't go investigate anymore, but we knew. And of course, we saw that Syria had, bioweapons and so forth and chemical weapons and stuff. And that's what Saddam Hussein sent over there to his buddy, right? So this is part of the process, disclosing all this, exposing a lot of this stuff that's happened. So that was Iraq. Now we have Iran, which is basically a deep state puppet, just like we saw with North Korea, deep state puppet as well. So we were starting to take all these down. Of course, President Trump made good with Kim Jong-un, who I believe is gone. He's dead. He's been replaced. All right. So I just saw another picture of him, his replacement, and he looks really nothing at all like the old Kim Jong-un. So I called that a long time ago, that he passed away during the. So and of course, President Trump went over there, across the border. No U.S. president had done that before, and everybody was so scared because the press was working it up. And they even almost let a nuke off, shot a nuke from a deep state submarine in Hawaii. They had they scared the hell out of the Hawaiians. Everybody thought they were going to get nuked, and then it was called off at the last minute because they stopped the nuke. Right. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and for the last, several during the first Trump administration and during Biden's administration, because Biden wasn't there, of course, Trump was still in charge. We have basically been looking for nukes, deep state nukes. And I just saw this one show. I've been following this show for a couple seasons. So the third season's out now. It's called Silo. Highly recommend that. It's basically, they built these silos so people could survive. And they go deep into the ground, and there's a little bit of area in the top where they can view out and see the world that's like destroyed, pretty much. So they've been there for hundreds of years because something happened. So they're in this third season. There was a nuke, a dirty bomb nuke that was set off somewhere around DC or something. And we're flying in to basically bomb Iran because they're the ones that set it off. And sounds a lot like what could be happening now, right? So they tell us what's going to happen. And so we sent these bombers in to bomb Iran. I think we're going to nuke them or something. And they ran into some kind of very high-tech cloud that basically destroyed their aircraft. And so we're leading up to find out, what happened to the silo group. So it had all these different silos. So this one woman escaped and went to another silo where the people, basically wigged out, and kind of like what happened just recently in California and one of the cities of high-end beach city where hoodlums came and ransacked it. So kind of like that, where people just went wigged out. And they couldn't get control of it, and this silo almost completely, everybody died on it pretty much, but one or two people. And so she somehow made it to that silo in season 2, I think it was, and she found out some stuff. So she had to go back to her other silo, and now her memory's gone. So this is kind of cool. It's a great series. I highly recommend it. It's on Apple Plus. So it's basically kind of giving us some stuff, right? So at some point, something happened where the world was, obliterated and put into a long gray period. It seems like hundreds of years or something. So that's kind of what we may be seeing. I don't think that's going to happen. As a remote viewer and intuitive, I don't think so. But we might get some kind of scare because we've heard from Juan O'Savin that America would go through a near-death experience. So what could that be? It could be something like that, right? So we're kind of like tiptoeing around Iran. It seems to me, which is going there and knock hell out of them, because they just said they're going to knock hell out of our president after they're burying their leader that they believe, rightly so, probably, I guess, that was killed by President Trump. But I think maybe the Israelis did, but I don't know. We're supporting and the Israelis with munitions and jets and so forth. So kind of we did it. We should take responsibility for it. Yeah. So we took your baddie out. So you have a terrorist that's running your country, and he's terrorizing the whole Middle East, and we took him out. I think that's a good thing. But you guys don't, because you're terrorists. So their leaders are basically taking their robes and their turbans off when they go, and they're like leaving the city now, Tehran. So I don't know. I think, and they're calling for worldwide strike against the Satanists, which we are, yes. I think they are. You're Satan. No, you're Satan. You're Satanist. You're Satanist. You're definitely a Satanist. No. So no, you kill people. You kill people too. So we kill people like you. It's Satanist. So it's a back and forth. Who's going to win? I'm pretty sure we are, but there could be some problems. Maybe not, but maybe. Maybe the Marines will take Karg Island, like I think I've seen. But these things I see sometimes, these timelines don't actually work out because consciousness is changing. I would like to see it. We just we're all loving and go back to where it was back during the Tartaria times, which was a revival of Atlantis. Then these baddies basically came in and took down Tartaria, just like they did Atlantis. So now they're trying to take us down, and so it's another war against these baddies once again. So you get some of their puppets that are going bye-bye, like Glitch Mitch, and a lot of the other ones. So they're scared. They're very scared because they don't know where we're going to hit them, right? There's warnings that we're going to put you guys down at Guantanamo. And so they're like, oh my God, they're going to put us in Guantanamo. Don't we have a dirty nuke somewhere we can set off? No, they keep finding them. Or how about the Iranians? We're let's give them a good missile so they can nuke somebody and draw attention away from us. It's like, nope, U.S. came in and bombed the hell out of them. Damn it. What can we do? We can have communists take over New York. How about that? Okay, so the communists have been there for a long time. Ukrainians, right? These satanic group. There's some kind of statue in New York of one of these Ukrainian revolutionary guys that went back and helped Ukraine take down Russia, right? So, and then they had Ukrainians that were running the Soviet Union, and they came from New York, and then they went to London, and then they went to, and it's just a craziness. It's craziness. It's hard to follow. So it doesn't surprise me that the communists are taking over New York and Seattle and LA and a lot of other places. So it's too many now. So sounds like, they warned us that they were going to take us down from within. It sounds like that's happening. All right. So it's crazy to see, this stuff going down. Tartaria was beautiful. It was in Russia, right? And they free energy. Everybody was very, the buildings were beautiful. They had beautiful art, and people could be creative. They didn't have to worry about money or anything. It's like, why couldn't we do that, guys? No, because you psychopaths want to be in control and make us into slaves because you're weird that way, right? So I don't know. I think we got to take these guys out. So I'm done with them. I don't know about you guys, but we've seen this citizen. You gotta be careful how I talk about this stuff. Vigilante. So that happened with Eisenhower. So he had military vigilantes, right? White hat types, and they started taking out baddies, right? So Mitch, poor Mitch, Glitch Mitch, right? And I'm not so, I don't have good feelings about that, right? So I like to see baddies go bye-bye, all right? And however they go bye-bye, guys, all right, at this point. So who knows what happened to Glitch, but he's brain dead. Yeah, it was easy to see that he was moving that direction. So I don't know if they were directing an injury weapon, knocking him up, but you could see people. He was obviously MK Ultra controlled. You could see because he was like talking, he was like giving up information. I was like, I can't believe he's sharing this. And then somebody came up and went on his arm, and he went, let's take Mitch back here. Right. So yeah, he was getting out of control. And so every time he'd start to talk and somebody would glitch Mitch, and then he'd like, So yeah, these guys, and then you see some of these Congress people, they're talking, and you see somebody behind them, they're going, and they're saying the same thing. It's like behind them, they're going, and they're saying the same thing. It's like, wow, there's some serious problems here. We need to get these people out of here. These bad ETs are like just controlling these knuckleheads. So there's that going on. So we have to overcome a lot of that stuff. It's just, the technologically they're very advanced, but so are we now. So we have instead of flip phones, we have iPhones now. So we have GPS. We have direct energy weapons now too. Like President Trump is, he's fast tracking the military. So we're up to speed with them in a lot of different areas. Now a lot of you are like, the military is not in control. That's right. That's very good. You see that. That's good. No, they're not completely in control because there's baddies in there. Hello. During Eisenhower, Ike's time, he tried to, in Dulce, New Mexico, they went in and they had a war, Delta guys. He created a little Delta group, and 1,000 of them went down and had a war with the Draco reptilians and the tall grays. And it was 30-1 odds. Yeah. And that's not 30-1 odds on our side, right? We killed one of them, they killed 30 of us. All right. So it didn't go well, but from there, it didn't stop. It's been secretive wars that have been going on against these knuckleheads for a long time. It's back and forth. Now, a lot of you guys aren't privy to this. Some people reveal it. Some people reveal it, and then they're taken out. Right? So you have to be very, very careful how you reveal this information. So what I've seen, people reveal and they get taken out. And I'm like, come on, you got to be more clever, right? You got to be like a vigilante type, right? You come in and you hit these guys where they don't. It's like, wow, how did I get taken down? Yeah, it's like there's a lot of that going on right now. So we have a vigilante stuff that's going on. Maybe more of us will have to be vigilantes before it's over. Now, you don't have to be kinetic, physical vigilante, because it's very hard to be open about this. And that's why it's a vigilante. Vigilante comes in quiet, takes somebody out that's been bad, right? I see like 12-year-old girls in Europe, they get raped and killed, and then they go before the justice system, and the guy they did it, they get off. That's citizen vigilante material right there. All right. Come on, Brits, grow up here. So here in America, we need to start doing the same thing. People that do this kind of bullshit need to go bye-bye. Justices that are letting this stuff happen, watch that movie Citizen Vigilante. And we need to start showing that to justices. So they get the idea that, yeah, that could be happening to you, right? So this is about to happen. We're very close to this happening. So me sharing this, I kind of create a ripple sometimes with these shows. Other people do the same thing, and they're like, wow, they're going to start hitting us. So it gets them nervous, right? So and then President Trump is like, you NATO knuckleheads need to start paying up. And so they're like, oh, and then we're going to like arrest Obama. Oh, so we're like, keeping them off track, so like keeping them off track. You don't know where it's going to come from, do you, knuckleheads? Your glitch Mitch is gone, so you can't use him anymore. You can't puppet that boy anymore. So What are you going to do? What are you going to do, boy? So it's like these guys are like, they don't know what's coming at them, and they don't know where we're going to hit them because you can't tell them. You can't tell them. This is a military operation. You don't tell the enemy what you're going to do. You can kind of like hint, right? We might come in and take your top guys like Comey and Brennan and Obama, and well, we already did that with Biden. All right, so they know that capabilities are there, right? And they take out people too. They took out that one Democratic guy that was basically giving up information. They killed him on the street. It's a robbery. Well, if it's a robbery, why does he still have his wallet? It's like, you guys took him out because he gave up information on your peeps. So there is a back and forth. So you got to be very careful how you leak information. You don't want them to be able to, take it, to a certain level. Bruce Lee, their ass. That's right. Bruce Lee. Lots. Be like water. Be like water. Right? And I think we're gonna continue to be like that. We're gonna get in their minds. We're gonna make them into soup. Whoop, and we're gonna get in their hearts, and we're gonna send it love, and that blackness, turns to goop, and then they fall over like Mitch. So Gavin Newsom at some point he's so close. I've been sending him so much love. All right. If you want to see Gavin go bye-bye, send him some love, guys. Right? They don't like that stuff because it makes them weak because they're demons that are on them, or just don't do well with that. Right. So, and their handlers, they're reptilian handlers or whatever they got going on. So I love you, be the light shirt. That's right. Be the light, life wave, right? So, I patch up because patches, keep me very focused. They help me continue my light. And they try to take me out so many times, so many different ways. So I got to all kind of crazy stuff that I do to, overcome their stuff. One of them is a water machine, which is basically going to be available for everybody on Thursday. So you want to get some of that light water. So be the light, drink the light. And that's the LifeWave water machine X2O. All right. Don't mess with the Jayco. That's right, David. Very good. And, it's not like I'm out in the middle of the road going, nanner, nanner, nanner. I'm like, off in the woods, sending that love energy, and they're like, and then they wreck and they're like die, and it's like, what happened? You don't know, do you? So I'm not going to tell you. Scott Ritter, had him on the show before. Phenomenal guy, American, former United States Marine Corps intelligence officer, former United States Nation Special Commission weapons inspector. He would go to Russia. He learned the language. They were basically downsizing the nukes. It was working really good. He's an author, commentator, was a junior military analyst during Operation Desert Storm, served as a member of UNESCO, overseeing the disarmament of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq from 91 to 98. All right, so he's done a lot of good stuff. He's on a lot of different shows. I follow him. He's got an article, Real Scott Ritter. So he basically came up with this one article. It's called Trail of Tears, Starbalesque. So this is in Ukraine, now Russia. All right, so the Russians took it back because the nasty NATO satanic Luciferians is like the top above Satanists. So Satanists are Luciferian wannabes. So in Ukraine, they're Satanists, right? And then of course NATO high-level officials are Luciferians. So you got to understand the way the system works. That way we can take it down, and we are taking it down. All right, this is very tragic. Now, what happens with NATO is they've been dumping hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars, hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of gear, military equipment, and so forth into Ukraine over the last several years. They've had Russia came in very early. I remote viewed that with a remote viewing group that I used to have in my back channel website that I used to have. I don't anymore do that. I do it all right here. So, so we basically saw them, Russians coming in. Of course, Russians had come onto the border several times over the years and nothing ever happened. But I was like, this time it's going to be real and they're going to go deep into Ukraine. And they did. I thought they were going to take over Ukraine. They were just miles, kilometers from Kyiv, the capital, and they stopped. And they had taken up a huge, bunch of land. Now, what prompted this? Well, the Ukrainians for like almost 10 years have been shelling. The Ukrainian Nazi army had been shelling the Donbas area, which has a lot of Russian speakers. They didn't like that. They wanted them to stop being Russians because that's the way Nazis are. They don't like Russians because Russians are good people that believe in God and Christians and so forth. They don't like that because they're Satanists, all right? And as we see here in the United States, Democrats, for the most part, are Satanists as well, right? They don't like God. And communists don't like God, right? So that's the way it is. They try and make themselves look good, but I see right through it. I don't know how you guys look at these people, but it is, to me, it's disgusting, right? It's very obvious, very disgusting. That's the way the Ukrainians are. So they had elected Ukraine, the people of Ukraine had elected a good man. And he was going to, work with Russia because he was going to better deal with Russia because European Union was going to come in like they do every place, like the Europeans and sometimes whoever's running America. We come in, they come in, and they take over countries and they steal their wealth, right? So he was like, no, you're not going to come in and steal the wealth of Ukraine. And so he was going to work with the Russians. European Union didn't like that. We had John McCain. John McCain came in and basically, said Ukrainians should, throw off this government because he was part of a deep state. He was a puppet boy, right? So, John McCain died, and he had American flag on his coffin, and it was, very, very wrinkly, which they do for people that are not patriots, right? So same thing happened with Daddy Bush because he was part of the JFK assassination, built assassination team that basically went around the world and assassinated people all around the world. So, and then of course he was, as a payback, he was a CIA head, and then as a payback for, all the bullshit that he did during that time frame, running drugs through Mena, Arkansas, when the Clintons were there. Then he became president. And of course, the Clintons, for their payback, they became President Clinton. And it was going to be President Clinton, Hillary Clinton, but the White House finally got control of that bullshit and stopped it. So this has been the progression of this bullshit all along. And now what we're seeing is it's being exposed. All right. So Ukraine is, they push back Russia, and Russia's like, okay, let them push back. Now take down their army, decimate them. And that's what they did. Then Russia came in with, or not Russia, but NATO and the United States under Biden sent all this money and the gear, and they did another big push, and Russia fell back and let them get so far, and then they annihilated that army, right? And now Russia has been pushing, annihilating all along a 1,000-mile front, pushing back and destroying the Ukrainian army. And now they're going to meet in Ankara, Turkey tomorrow, and beg, please give us more blood money so we can kill more Russians, right? Because they're not satanic like we are. They're Christians. They love their families, and they have beautiful cities, unlike us. All right, so that's what we're seeing right now. Now, the Ukrainians with the drones have been going in, and they search for military targets. And if they don't find a military target, first they look for tanks and whatever, and oil facilities. If they can't get them, they can't get that. Which now they're not getting any of that. So all the drones that are trying to go into Ukraine now are getting taken down, right? With the exception of maybe one or two out of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of drones that have been going in. They had success, yes. Some of the success that they showed to the national news, we found out that, some of those drones had kerosene on them, so that when they crashed, they had these great big explosions and look great for the video, and it's like, oh, Russia is getting hammered. No, they weren't. Right? Yes, they have been taking down some of their oil facilities, which Russia's doing a much better job of doing that now. They're taking down the electrical, all of their facilities for transporting fuel, their gas stations, hundreds and hundreds of gas stations on the eastern flank of Ukraine, and now they're moving into the middle of Ukraine and taking down even more. Hundreds, probably in the next week or two, there's going to be probably up to 1,000 different gas stations they're taking down. So this is not coming out onto the regular news, right? Even J.D. Vance came out and said Russia has zero offensive capabilities now. I don't know why he did that. What's up with that? It's disinformation. Are you doing deals with Russia and trying to make it look like they're not so good? Or are you part of the bad guy club? Right? I don't know. So for whatever reason, the truth is not coming out. That's why I'm here, to make sure the truth does come out, because Ukraine is horribly bad. Right? And if you still support Ukraine, you're either ill-informed or you're part of the baddie guy team, right? Which means satanic, Luciferian, right? You need to understand that. To support Ukraine is to support absolute evil, right? NATO, support NATO, absolute evil. All right, guys. All right, so let's go into this. And if you're still uninformed, watch this, share this, and let people know what's going on. So this is Scott Ritter's Trail of Tears. So he has, you can, I subscribe to him. He has great information. He comes on and does great shows. So this is Dasha. So Daria Serdyuk's face captured in her last desperate plea for help, broadcast under the rubble of her destroyed dormitory building, May 22nd of this year. So this didn't get a lot of news, but this is something that is definitely horrific. 16 different drones. It wasn't a random drone that crashed into this building. They surveyed this girls' school right across the street. There was an art museum, and they killed these girls, right? So this is basically Scott Ritter. He broke this down really good. So I've been following this for a while, and I'm going to show you a gentleman that basically was a former U.S. military officer that was from Russia, the Donbass area, and now is back there and is reporting on what's going on with NATO. Nastya, it is flying, Nastya, I am scared. The face and voice was that of Daria Sergeyevna Serdyuk, born April 18th, 2007, an orphan. Daria spent her childhood in St. Petersburg, where she was raised by her aunt. And it was in St. Petersburg where her cousin and best friend, Anastasia Shcherbek Nastya, lived. Around 10 at night on May 21st, the first wave of Ukrainian drones flew over the buildings of the Starobelsk Teachers College. The buildings consisted of 5 floors. The first 3 contained classrooms, administrative offices, while the top two comprised dormitories where the students lived. So they were constant threat of air attack. Air raid sirens would go off all the time. They would run downstairs, and then the siren stopped. And so when the first alarm sounded, Daria took refuge in a hallway on the first floor of her dormitory building, along with the other students. She reached out to her closest friend, Anastasia, through Telegram, a popular social media platform, apprising her of her situation. 2 hours later, after the first wave of attacks subsided, Daria and the other students were instructed to return to their rooms. They were told to go to sleep and keep their lights off. 10 minutes later, the siren sounded again. The students were told to remain on their floors. Then a drone exploded in the adjacent parking lot, and the girls began to evacuate the building. 2 drones struck the structure in quick succession, sending plaster flying and shrouding the students in a cloud of dust. That is when Daria used the circle video featured to tell Anastasia they were under renewed attack. The next video sent a chill down Anastasia's spine. Nastya, I am buried. Nastya, help me. And then a final desperate posting, Daria's frightened face barely visible in the frame, as you saw here. All right. Then there was only silence. Text after text, Anastasia reached out to her soulmate, desperate for a response. Dasha, what's up with you? Go down to the basement and hide, please, Dasha. But Dasha was dead, killed with 20 other students whose only crime was daring to live a life in defiance of the Ukrainian nationalists in Kyiv who had condemned them and all other students of the Lugansk People's Republic to be terrorists. The Ukrainian armed forces attacked Starobelsk with a total of 16 kamikaze drones, which arrived in 3 waves. The first wave, according to eyewitness accounts, involved jet-powered drones, more than likely Ukrainian-built UJ-25 Skyline drones favored by the Ukrainian military for medium-range attacks such as the one conducted against Starobelsk. So they would come in, a lot of times Ukrainian drones, if they couldn't find a military target, they started to go after buildings, and if they could find a building that was military involved, then they would start to go after civilians. So this was a total civilian attack. There was no military targets here at all. The next 2 waves of attacks were carried out using FP-1 drones, a slower propeller-driven aircraft-style drone, which has become the mainstay of Ukrainian medium and long-range attacks against Russian targets. The operator using thermal cameras is able to see the target at night. Human bodies in particular stand out, their body heat providing a stark contrast to the cooler surroundings, and guide the drone for a precision strike. So they knew what they were doing. They went after these students and they killed them. Daria Serduk and her fellow students were chased out of their dormitories by the UJ-25 Skyline drones, which were pre-programmed to strike the fixed buildings of the greater Starobelsk College campus. Then the FP-1 drones followed, specifically tasked with killing anyone who sought to flee the buildings. They did so by firing rockets into the buildings and then circling around and crashing into the ruins for one last burst of murderous madness, all the while under the direct observation and control of their Ukrainian masters. Let there be no doubt, Daria Serduk and the 20 other students of the Starobelsk Teachers College were murdered by the Ukrainian drone operators in a cold, calculated act of terrorism. So here are their pictures. So there is 2 boys that were killed, as you see right there, and the rest were girls, young women, right? All right, so there's more to this article, and it goes into people sharing their experiences, and so very tragic. Great job by Scott Ritter. Now let's go into looking at this gentleman that I've been following for quite some time, Stanislav Krapivnik. This is his channel that we're going to look at. Mr. Stanislav, I believe is the channel name. So he basically goes into the details of this attack, and I'm going to show you the videos. He walks around, and he gives a very interesting narrative, right? And the narrative is one that I agree with completely. All right, so we've seen that the Russians they know the stuff that we've been trying to share with you. The Russians have been dealing with this for a long time, guys, and they know that the West is incredibly corrupt. We're seeing, hopefully, President Trump is calling this out, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Right? Is President Trump going to throw some more money at this and keep this blood money continuing? Now, if this was happening down in Mexico and Italy was paying, sending drones to Mexican cartels, and the cartels were striking U.S. cities and killing children, like you just saw there, Italian drones killing children, what do you think that we would do? We would probably bomb the hell out of the place that made those drones in Italy. So if this goes to the point where Russia finally crosses that line, Europe will be absolutely devastated. There's nothing that Europe can do, right? And if Europe wants to play the nuke war, Russia is the most powerful nuclear, has the most powerful nukes on the planet right now. And they have missile systems that travel, faster than several times the speed of sound, which Europe cannot stop. So I think at first, if they cross that line, which I think we're getting close to, we would probably see Russia annihilate all of the electrical power stations throughout Europe. They would annihilate the capabilities of building military throughout Europe, and that would happen very quickly and very efficiently. So we're seeing that we're very lucky that Russia has been very, very calm about this, I believe. If it was here in the U.S., like I said, and Italian drones were coming into America and blowing up our children, like you just saw, that we would strike Italy, right? And it probably wouldn't be just we'd strike their factory that was making the drones. We'd probably go a lot further, right? So this is very, very possibly coming for Europe. If they come to Ankara and they pump a lot more money into this, and they keep making, materials and so forth for Ukrainian satanic Nazis to use against Russia, it's probably going to be on, guys. All right. So things will probably go to another level. All right. So let's look at, what has happened. Like I said, a week ago, Ukraine under, if you're watching the news, you probably caught a little bit of it. If you're carefully following this, like I do, you saw that they made Ukraine send a lot of drones because the UK just basically, okayed, the use of their high-speed drones, and they used those drones to go in and hit petrol facilities in Moscow, around Moscow. And you probably saw some of those explosions, fires, and so forth. So Keir Starmer, on his way out, basically approved the use of and he didn't do that before. So on his way out, he approved those drones, and those drones were used basically to go deep into Russia and hit those facilities, and they're still doing that. Still hitting because that's where a lot of income comes for Russia. So they're hitting a lot of those fuel facilities and petrol stations and so forth. And